My AI business made over $100,000 this June. As you can see, there are 7 payments. 3 of them are from new companies, 4 from companies that already work with us. The biggest payment is $51,000 and the smallest one is 2K. Again, as you can see, over $90,000 of this total came from companies paying us to build AI systems. So, not from selling courses about how to do it like most creators in this space do. And look, I'm 20, I'm not a technical genius. And just 2 years ago, this exact business made under $10,000 in an entire year. That led to us almost parting ways with my co-founder Ali and shutting down our entire business. So in this video, I want to show you what we changed. Now first, let me give you the story so far that led to $100,000 in a single month. We started Monk AI Group in October 2023. It was just me and my co-founder Ali. We were both 17 at the time and AI was still pretty early. So we thought, nice, we are early in the game, we have an advantage here. However, we spent almost 1.5 years wasting our whole time trying to build and sell AI chatbots, automations, make.com automations, workflow automations, whatever you want to call them, just because that was what we were sold into by the AI gurus you see on social media every single day. Now, we could only make $10,000, under $10,000 in an entire year in 2024. So starting off 2025, we knew that if we really want to become successful and achieve our dreams, we had to change a lot of things. And we started with our main offer. We started offering and selling what we now call AI audits. And we closed our first paid AI audit on the first call for $750 in January 2025. I clearly remember making just under $40,000 the next month, and since then we haven't done anything less in a single month. Now, fast forward today, in June 2026, we made just over $100,000 in a single month, and we are scaling faster than ever. Now, over the 3 years, we have successfully completed over 50 AI projects across 20 plus industries: healthcare, education, real estate, whatever comes to your mind. We have also generated over $1 million in revenue. And if you don't believe my word, feel free to check our company website, monkgroup.ai, for further case studies and proof. At the same time, we have helped over 100 people start and scale their own AI businesses. Now, what was special about June was not only hitting $100,000, but also it being the first month we stopped pricing every deal from scratch. What made that number possible is not a growth hack, it's a single offer with a fixed price. And we call it the paid diagnosis. And in this video, look, I'm going to give you the whole thing and I'm not going to ask anything back from you guys. There are 5 lessons at the end, and the 5th one is the only reason there was a June at all. Now, let's get into the machine. Let's get into how this company actually runs. Because most people telling you to start an AI business, to maybe promote their paid courses or communities, never show you the operation behind it. But did you ever question why? If you didn't, you should. Because most of them don't even have an active operation going on. Either they started an AI business, they maybe got a little bit of success with it, then they started creating content and started making more money off their paid courses, off their communities and their followings. So to be fully transparent with you guys and hopefully gain your trust, I want to show you the whole operation behind our business. So I own the front end of the business. I do content, branding, marketing, and the strategy on the education and coaching side. If you have seen us anywhere on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on social media, that was my job. On the other hand, Ali, my co-founder Ali, owns the back end of the business. He runs B2B sales and operations, and he's basically the engine of the full operation. But look, we are a real AI company. It's not just the 2 of us. There are 8 more people. We have a chief operating officer, Krish. We have a chief technology officer, Doruk, who is the most cracked engineer I have ever met in my life. We have 2 more AI consultants with extensive experiences in big consulting firms. We have 3 engineers and we have a person leading the education and coaching side. If you ever book a call with us, the person you will meet, Beckett, is the person leading the education and coaching side. Plus, we have contractors for everything else. As you can see, we are a real AI company. We are a real AI consulting company. Almost everyone in the team is working towards direct B2B AI transformation work. Now, everything this team does runs on 3 phases. Those 3 phases are identify, develop, and adopt. Identify is the first phase where we decide what is even worth building inside the company. And this is the AI audit phase. And in my opinion and in our experience, this is the most important phase of all 3. Then, second phase is the develop phase, where we build opportunities we identified during the AI audit. And this is where the big money lives. June's biggest payment, the $51,000 payment you just saw in the beginning of this video, is a develop payment. And the final and the third phase is the adopt phase, where we make people inside the companies we work with actually use what we built. To be honest, this is the phase everyone skips, and including us in the very beginning of our journey. We lost 2 of our clients and the retainer opportunity just because we skipped this phase. I'm being fully transparent here and telling you guys about our experiences so you don't skip this phase and you don't make the same mistakes we did in the beginning of our journey. To say that you own a real business, you need to have a predictable, sustainable cash flow. And the only way to achieve that as an AI business owner is via retainers. And that's why this adopt phase is extremely crucial for the scalability of your business. Keep this in mind because we will get back to it later in the video. Now let's get into how we actually get clients. Clients come to us through 3 doors, and the first door is the one you are pretty familiar with. So we have 2 channels, right? We have a YouTube channel with over 3K subscribers, and we have a LinkedIn profile with just under 10K followers. And we treat these channels as open playbooks on how we built a 7-figure AI consulting business. We aim to share all the insights we gain from scaling and building this business. And through these channels, people find our work, they see something we made, and they reach out. That's the whole goal here. And the main concept here, which we will get back again later in the video, is out teaching your competition. I believe the goal there is to create this reciprocal exchange via creating valuable content for people who would really care about what you're creating, so that your audience, feel the responsibility to either buy your products or services, or if they are not your ideal customer profile, they feel the responsibility to at least refer you guys to people who might be interested in your services. At least maybe share your channel, your profile, or your company website. So that's the whole goal with the first door. The second door is where someone we already delivered for example, a current client, sends the next one, sends a referral. Think of it like referrals or your warm network. And we also partner up with our coaching program graduates on some projects. So I know that many of you guys will ask, Mert, if you have a 7-figure AI consulting business, if it's profitable, why even bother, with these coaching programs, with helping others, with teaching others how to do the same? Look, guys, we are 20-year-olds as the founders, right? We do not have access to Asian market. We do not have access to North America market or the US or the UK overall, right? We have some connections in Turkey, but that's it. And we want to scale further. We don't want to stop at 7 figures, right? We want to scale to 8 figures and 9 figures. And to do that, we somehow need to get into these markets. And when partnering up, when teaching other people, especially executives of maybe Fortune 500 companies or people who previously worked at big four consulting companies, these type of partnerships opens doors that we could otherwise not have access to. So that's the whole aim with our coaching programs. And the final and the third door is where a current client asks for the next project. Look, if you deliver a project for a client and if it saves them more money or makes them more money or gets them somehow results, they're of course going to ask for the next project. And if we actually go back to the first table I showed you in the beginning of this video, the table of June, you will see that four of the seven payments came from existing clients. So the lesson here is that the most of the money comes from companies that already know about you. Maybe companies, maybe your current clients, maybe the previous company you worked at, or your previous coworkers. But there is also this question: what if there aren't any companies that already know about you? And that's what I'm going to cover in the upcoming minutes. We first need to cover what you're going to sell, right? What you're going to offer to the people you're reaching out to. Step one: sell the diagnosis and not the build. Nobody will pay you to build something they cannot capture. Look, AI is a new concept, and a lot of business owners, especially the traditional ones, cannot understand the power and capabilities of AI. And showing them a complex demo won't change that. But everybody will pay you to tell them what is actually broken inside their businesses. The AI audit is how you do that, right? The AI audit is a process where you communicate what's broken in their business and how you can save them more money or make them more money by the capabilities of AI. So diagnosis is the product and you should definitely charge for it. Look, the moment we realized that AI audits should be the main offer of our company, that was the moment the whole trajectory of our company changed. We started scaling much further, we started having predictable, sustainable cash flow, and that's when we started hiring more people and scaling our company. I can even give you a real case here. We closed our first paid AI audit on the first call, as I said, for $750 in January 2025. Just 4 weeks later, the same client signed an $11,000 product build. You can see both deals here straight from our CRM with 29 days apart. Now, let's get back to the question I promised to answer. How do you book a call with a company that has never heard of you? Again, we are coming back to the concept of out teaching your competition. The main idea here is creating value for them first, just like what I'm doing here for you guys. I'm not asking anything back from you guys, and I'm giving free value, free education. You look at businesses in one industry, you create content about what's broken in them, and the people who have that exact problem will raise their hand. This used to get us 10 to 20 qualified calls a week from LinkedIn at its peak when it was our main focus. We didn't do any ads, we didn't do any cold volume. And again, I can even give you a real example here. Look at this post I published on LinkedIn over a year ago. It's got crazy amount of impressions and comments, and this is exactly what they will raise their hands looks like. I remember booking over 50 calls from this post alone and closing maybe 2 deals again from this post alone. That's the power when you create value, when you out teach your competition. Now, what if you have warm connections? What if you have a warm network that you can leverage? Then my answer would be warm before cold every single day. Here, you should reactivate the trust that already exists instead of chasing strangers. Maybe in the future, when you scale quite a bit, you can start implementing other cold strategies. But when starting out, if you have the warm connections, if you have the network, you need to reactivate the trust from people that already know about you, the people you worked with before, or it could be even be your old boss, old company that you worked at. Now, I want you guys to literally steal this warm reactivation framework, which consists of 3 messages. Pause here, take a screenshot, and use it whenever you need it. What I want to emphasize here is that we are asking for an introduction and never for a direct sales. And if you ask me why, because we want to make things easier for the people we are reaching out to every time. That will increase the reply rates by a lot. And when starting off, your only goal is to get some calls booked, practice your sales skills, practice your closing skills, close some deals, and build a portfolio of case studies. Because if we have that portfolio, we can use those cases in our content, when creating content, and in our next upcoming sales calls. And that will increase the conversion rates by a lot. So to get that momentum, what we will do is we will also financially incentivize the people we are reaching out to. We will literally give them maybe 20 or 30% of the deal just for the introduction itself. You will realize that when people are financially incentivized, they're also incentivized to reply you or support you, help you early in your journey. Now, another strategy you can use is the teardown strategy, which is a handmade mini audit of one business, which will consist 3 findings and ideally a 90-second Loom video where you look at one real company, you find 3 things you would automate, and you send it to them, and that's it. But a really important note here is that you never promote it or phrase it as a free audit. The moment you say free audit, your real AI audit is worth zero in their head. So the teardown ideally stays under 90 seconds if you can communicate all your value in under 90 seconds. But if you can't, feel free to make it a couple minutes as well. But it's never the real product. It's only something to prove what you can achieve for them, prove your value. Now, I also want to give you guys a template of a tear down opener. As you can see, it names one problem and it asks for nothing from the business owner. Why? Again, we are trying to make things easier for the people we are reaching out to increase the reply rates, increase the conversion rates. Now, step 3. How to turn the ask into a paid diagnosis. So now we are diving deeper into the sales skills, which are extremely important. They will most probably, most of the businesses you talk to, even your friends, will ask you, I know what my business needs. Can you build something for me? Can you build this specific thing for me? Maybe a project management tool, maybe a workflow automation, maybe an invoice automation, maybe document processing, maybe a custom CRM. But here is the thing. What they will ask for is almost never the best thing to build or at least start with. We have plenty of experiences, bad experiences, where we started a custom development project and a few weeks in, we realized that to really properly build this custom project, we need to fix a lot of broken systems in the underlying infrastructure. And I can even give you a real case here where a UK manufacturer, an SMB, asked us for a project management tool. But at this time, we were more experienced. We knew what had to be done first. So we said, we don't start projects like this. If you want a partnership, we can start with an AI audit. They paid 5K for it. And during the audit, we identified 24 problems and 17 of them were pre-AI problems. What do I mean by pre-AI problems? These problems are problems that are not directly solvable with AI. So you need to address these problems first so that you can bring in AI tools, AI solutions that will get them real results. Now, let's get into the 3 sales call rules. Rule 1. Say the agenda out loud in minute 1. Something like, I will ask you about your business, I will show you how we would approach it, and if it looks like a good fit to me, I will walk you through how we would begin. Why do we want to do this? Why do we want to say the agenda out loud in minute 1? There are 2 reasons. Firstly, we want to, set the expectations for the upcoming 30, but secondly, and more importantly, you want to establish authority. If you can't manage and run a sales call structurally in a structured way, you won't give them the confidence that you can also walk them through a proper structured AI audit process. So by handling the sales call in a structured way, you give a good first impression. And what you'll realize, because it's also our experience, is that many people in the AI space don't really know what they're talking about. They watched some YouTube videos, some AI tutorials, and maybe they are too technical to really communicate what their product is doing well, or they just don't know what they're talking about, so they seem unprofessional. So by running the sales call in a professional structured way, you will directly give a good first impression and you will differentiate from rest of the people, probably 90% of AI agency owners. The second rule is to say the price at the end and then stop talking. Why do we want to say the price at the end? Because we want to give as many reasons as possible for the price to justify itself. Let me give you an example. We closed a $25,000 AI audit deal just a few months ago. And there are 2 reasons behind how we were able to close such a big AI audit deal. Firstly, it's a $1 billion Fortune 500 enterprise client, so 25K is basically nothing for them. But secondly, because we were able to communicate how if we could identify and fix a couple broken processes, workflows in their business, we would probably save them millions of dollars. When we said the pricing is 25K, it was like nothing for them. The price justified itself. And why do we want to stop talking after saying the price? This is actually a common problem, a common pattern I see from our coaching members and a lot of people in this space. They are not comfortable with the silence that comes after saying the price. When you say the price, the business owner will probably evaluate the price at least for a couple of seconds or even minutes. And during that time, if you try to justify your pricing or get uncomfortable with the silence and offer a discount, you lower your authority by a lot. So we don't want to do that. We want to be confident with our pricing because we justified why and how before saying the price by, slides maybe, or talking about the return on investment on the pricing itself. And the third rule is, if you get a pricing objection, which is again tied to the rule 2, the scope moves and the price never does. Because if you are able to move your price directly just because of a silence or just because of a pricing objection, you basically give them the sense that your price was never an established a real price in the first place. So you don't want to do that. If they push with the pricing objection, you can cut the scope, you can cut a department or a workflow. So these are the 3 sales call rules. I know that we covered them quite quickly, but if you want further breakdowns, more detailed breakdowns of how to run a sales call for your AI business, please let me know so that we can come up with a more detailed breakdown of how to run sales calls, as I know that for a lot of you guys, sales is a big issue. Now, another important point here is to send the proposal within 24 hours. It wins about twice as often, and same day beats perfect. If you are an AI business, why don't you have an automated proposal system that pulls the important information from the meeting, directly prepares a proposal, and sends the proposal out to the emails of your leads? If you can do that, your leads will probably be also impressed. It's a perceived value on your end. Now, let's get into how to actually sell an AI audit and how to handle the most common objections that you might face. Firstly, we need to explain the need for an AI audit. And we do that by explaining how most of the AI projects turn into failed investments due to the lack of a clear strategy before starting the project. And here you can show the MIT report to support your argument. Secondly, we position the audit as a de-risking investment and also an opportunity for the business you're talking to see how AI ready they are compared to their competitors. Almost every business is at least a little bit driven by what their competitors are doing. So when you mention that they can achieve a competitive edge by becoming AI first compared to their competitors, that will incentivize them about the AI audit. And thirdly and finally, this is actually a good tip. When we first started offering AI audits, we used the audit fee comes off the build strategy a lot, and it became a very good selling point. What I mean by this is when selling audits, let's say you have a pricing of $2,000 when starting off. You might say, look, I know you really want to build this product and you really want to, directly move building that. But what I want to do is I want to make sure every single penny you invest on that product is worth it. And you're not gonna make a failed investment here. And to do that, I'm gonna start with this audit because I'm the AI guy here and I know what I'm talking about. To be on the same page, I'm gonna credit that $2,000 into the development. So you're not losing or wasting money here. And that will become a really good selling point as you will experience. Now, what do you actually look at during an AI audit? So this is a bit more about how do you actually run an AI audit. So you scan the company in 3 layers. And the order here is low. You start with systems, how the information moves between employees, between departments. That's the first thing you look at. Secondly, the team, who does what. What's the role of the managers? What's the role of the employees? What's the role of the seniors? What's the role of the executives? Now you map out what every single person does in the company. And only then you can start mapping out where AI and automation fits inside that company. Now, to solidify this concept in your minds even further, I want to show you a real case study. So we have been working with one of the biggest insurance reinsurance brokerages in Turkey. And during our audit, we found 22 problems. And 16 of them, as you can see in this department-based summary, weren't even related to AI. Again, they were pre-AI problems like files living in email or the same data typed 3 times into different systems. So before integrating complex AI solutions or tools, building an AI brain, building a second brain, you have to first address these problems. So please always keep in mind these concepts that I'm mentioning in this video when running an AI audit with a real company. Now, let's talk a little bit about pricing, especially how to price an AI audit scope. Now, I know that many of you guys struggle with pricing your audits and especially the product development projects that follows the audits. But in this video, we will focus on the audit itself. If you want a more detailed breakdown, let me know in the comments below so that we can prepare a more detailed breakdown for the product development phase with my team. Now, only 3 things should move your AI audit pricing, and they are the number of departments, the number of workflows, and the number of working demos you hand over to the client. If you lower your pricing due to an objection, you lower your authority directly. Keep that in mind. And here is our recommended pricing structure for different number of departments, workflows, and working demos. So this has been something we have been only sharing with our coaching members, but in this video, as it's a raw detailed video, I want to give this structure to you guys so that you can directly start implementing this structure. However, your first audit can be and will often be much smaller than these pricings. Ours was $750. Yours could be the same. Or if you're not an 18-year-old like we were at the time, you can start with 2K. Or if you want, you can directly start charging $5,000, analyzing 3-4 departments, focusing on 3 workflows, and handing over 1 demo. So as I mentioned, it also depends a little bit about your starting points, whether you have experience in the consulting industry, in the AI industry or not, if you have a portfolio or not. Based on those factors, you can start as small as $500 or directly start charging $5,000. Now, coming back to the sales strategy that I gave, which was crediting the audit towards the build. When just starting out, please use this. But once you have a client base, you have a sustainable, predictable cash flow, and clients are coming to you, we stop that. You should stop that too. Because your audits will start taking weeks as the size of the businesses you work with increase, and they will be worth $25,000 on their own. So know that, and after a certain point, probably like after you start charging $5,000, keep the audits price standalone. So this is the ladder. De-risk it when you're new, but price it standalone when the work speaks for itself. And here you can see the evolution of our pricings on an AI audit scope. We started and closed our first AI audit deal for $750. And recently, just a couple months ago, we have closed a 20K deal with a team of 8. I'm showing you this and being fully transparent with the whole journey, whole process, so that you understand that you can do the same. I'm a 20-year-old. I'm not technical. My co-founder Ali isn't technical either. He's 20 as well. And we have done this. You could definitely do this yourself as well. Now, every audit ends in a verdict, either build or delegate. What do I mean? Let me explain. So I know that I'm talking to many of you guys who are not technical, just like myself. So one of your biggest concerns is actually building the products and solutions you identified during the audit. And you come to me asking, what should I do, Mert? Look, if you can build a network of good contractors, good developer contractors, then you can delegate the work that you identified during the audit and you can still provide development services under your company's name. If you are a developer or you're not technical, but you had built some products, perfect, you can just directly offer them. But make sure that at the end of an audit, you're comfortable with making this verdict. Either I'm going to build it or I'm going to offer something that I built or I'm going to delegate the work I identified during the audit. This is important because over 80% of our audits turn into development work. And these development works are where the big money lives. These are usually for us 5-figure, 6-figure, even 7-figure projects. So make sure that you have a plan on what type of AI transformation roadmap you will provide to your clients and what type of responsibility you will own in that roadmap. Now, let's get into the recap. This has been the longest video I have ever recorded. I hope it has been valuable for you guys as well. So this was the whole offer, 5 steps, right? Sell the diagnosis, not to build. Get in the room. I explained how to turn the ask into a paid audit. We covered some objection handling strategies, scanning 3-layer systems, teams, and then AI automation, and price on scope, never on objection, and deliver a verdict and be comfortable with it, and have a plan, have a certain plan on how you're going to deliver this. Now let me zoom in so that you can take a screenshot and refer back to this card whenever you need. Now, I know that some of you are going to take this card and will want to run this business and offer yourself. And that's completely fine. And that is the whole point of this channel. But some of you will want somebody sitting next to you, maybe someone more experienced in this space, while you do build your business, AI business, for the first time. And if you are one of those people, I have good news for you. My team and I directly work with others looking to start and scale their own AI businesses. We teach it because we are still doing it. If I stopped running audits, I would be a guy explaining an industry from outside of it. I would definitely not be passionate about it. Now, let me even give you real success stories. Rinor made only $15,000 with his AI business in total before we started working together. After we started working together, he made about $100,000 in 2025 and another $100,000 in 2026. Lubo closed a $40,000 AI audit deal within 2 months. And Sarah and Luke closed their first AI audit deal for £1,000 just 6 days after we started working together. And we now have a $20,000 bill deal on the table. We literally worked on the audit and the deal itself together. And it will be the same case for you guys if you decide to join our program. You can book a call using the link in the description and we will figure out if this is the right fit for you. Now, I want to end the video with 5 lessons we learned from scaling a 7-figure AI consulting business. Lesson 1. Most of what we find is not AI. And this has been a concept that has repeated itself throughout this video as well. Yes, we sell AI systems, but most of what we find during an AI audit is not AI. If you put AI on top of broken systems, you automate the chaos. Fix the boring layer first. Focus on the 3 layers we covered today. And that is exactly what companies actually pay for. Charge for the thinking. AI made access to information and knowledge obsolete, so judgment is now what's worth paying for, and you basically make that judgment during an AI audit process. So AI audit is what actually, again, companies pay for. The money that repeats itself is worth more than the money that impresses. If you close a 50K deal in a single month, perfect. But if it doesn't repeat itself, or if you don't have a consistent MRR, then you don't have a real business. You just have a job that probably takes more of your time than a standard 9 to 5. Adoption is a product. Again, this is tied back to the third point. If you can't make the business and the people inside the businesses you work with adopt the products and solutions you build, you won't be able to achieve that monthly revenue. To have that, make sure you pay attention to adoption, and if needed, include some trainings, include some education sessions after the product development phases as well. And finally, a fixed price is a growth mechanism, and this is exactly what made June possible. For 2 years, we priced every deal from scratch. Every price was a negotiation, and every negotiation was a delay. In June, we stopped 1 price list and 3 tiers. And this is exactly what you need to replicate. If you change your pricing or scoping based on objections, and if you don't have a plan on how you are going to change them, then you will have a hard time scaling your business. I hope this has been a valuable video for you guys. Let me know in the comments below if you like the format, if you want more raw board breakdowns. I enjoyed it. I hope it has been valuable. That's all I strive for in this channel. As I said, this is an open playbook on how we built a 7-figure AI consulting business. And click the video you see on the screen to learn more about the playbook.